The use of social media is on the rise across the world. South African electoral bodies are meeting in Johannesburg to look at ways to enhance the use of digital media in rendering free, fair and credible elections. SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo has more.
Well, absolutely, quite a very important session for the African continent, looking at digital space as a very vital tool in terms of the elections. Let's hear now from Cameroon in terms of their experience. So once again, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. So a very important moment for the African continent, looking at the digital space, social media, in terms of making sure that the elections are credible, free and fair. What are you hoping to learn as Cameroon in this session?
There are a lot of advantages we're going to achieve from this, the launch of digital and social media in organization of elections. First of all, most of our youth that comprise the voting age have embarked more on TikTok. And it's very important that we domesticate the use of digital and social media to attract them in our own narratives. Otherwise, we find ourselves getting into their own narratives. So I think it is a way of a win-win situation where we attract them on the use of digital and social media on our own platform so that we don't allow them loose. Then we start having difficulties. But again, we need an inclusive approach in this in organizing elections where they can understand what we have on board and also make use of it without necessarily sabotaging the process which we have put in place. Because if you notice, most often voter apathy comes from digital and social media platforms where they tend to discourage that whatever you're embarking on, you can never achieve good results. So if you adopt an inclusive and transparent approach where they can have faith, or you have what we call institutional buy-in in what you are doing, so they become part of the process, then you tend to achieve a lot. And in that case, you give more credibility in the work you are doing.
And I would imagine big responsibility for the operators, your TikTok, your X, Facebook, and many others, in making sure that they tackle disinformation and misinformation or any form of hate speech, for that matter.
Yeah, misinformation and disinformation is very critical, especially when we talk of elections where youth are involved. The service providers usually will also want to know your needs. And we are using this platform to get in contact with most of the service providers that some were contacted yesterday, or in assessing some of our special needs to deal with this situation. But you know that the techniques are changing every day. While you're coming up with others, there are other things that are coming up. So you have to be abreast with what you are doing. But I think we are on the right footing, getting already in contact with the service providers and assessing the needs of our election management body. I think is very important.
And just before I let you go, say, I would imagine data is going to be very key in terms of access, making sure youth and so many people across countries are able to access these networks.
Yeah, there are so many people accessing the network, but it also depends on what you have put in place and how you're managing it. So I think what we intend to do is to create a department that will deal specifically with this purpose. In the past, we have not had. Well, we have a general service dealing with communication. But in terms of digital and social media, we have not been able to manage it in the manner in which it ought to. But knowing the techniques that are already coming up and the necessity for dealing with some of these evils, you have no choice than putting in place a strategy that does not necessarily impact on what you are already doing, but then will be part an integral part of the work you are doing.
All right. So thank you so much indeed for your time. So that's a perspective here from Cameroon. So many electoral bodies from the continent are looking at ways in terms of the use of the digital space, but also sharing their experiences in terms of really regulating the space and minimizing the harms. Khayelihle, Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.